Entering a restricted area is allowed but may be extremely hazardous. That is the correct answer. If you select an answer that says not allowed, that's wrong. You have to one that says it's allowed but may be extremely hazardous. You're going to fly some friends to a football game in another state. Your weight and balance calculations indicate you're over the maximum gross takeoff weight. What are your alternatives? You can reduce fuel or baggage to bring weight within the normal operation performance chart. You are the PIC of a flight that was supposed to have departed earlier in the day, but the passengers are late in arriving. Inclement weather is forecast for your route of flight. What are your alternatives? Evaluate current and forecast weather conditions and determine if the flight can be made safely. Alright, refer to this figure. What is the significance of the dot between the 10 and the 2-1? The significance is that runway 10 and runway 21 are both accessible by following the arrow on the destination sign. Alright. You are landing on runway 3. During the ground roll, you notice this sign. You know that you have 3,000 feet of runway remaining. That is correct. One segment of your flight path takes you within 4 nautical miles and 2,000 feet AGL of a primary airport in Class Charlie airspace. Your maximum indicated airspeed should be answer 200 knots. So the explanation is that unless otherwise authorized, no person may operate an aircraft at or below 2,500 feet above the surface within 4 nautical miles of the primary airport of the Class C or Class D area above 200 knots. The sectional chart indicates that your flight will take you to an airport depicted within a blue segmented circle. What is the minimum required visibility to enter the airspace under VFR? You need 3 statute miles visibility to enter Class Delta airspace. Okay. What is the length of the longest runway at Sacramento International Airport? So we go ahead and look there. Try to find it here. If you see it, there it is right there. Sacramento International L86. Longest available runway means 8,600 feet. If you see 86. All right. What is the minimum surface visibility for a VFR flight to take off from Auburn Airport? So we go find Auburn. Auburn Airport. Auburn Airport is not a towered airport, but it is inside of a soft magenta area. Therefore, it is a Class Golf airspace from the surface to 690 feet, 99 feet AGL. So according to the table provided, operating 1,200 feet or less above the surface in Class G airspace, the minimum visibility required is that for day operation is 1 statute mile and clear of clouds. So because when you're taking off from here, you're 700 feet below this Class Echo, you're in Gulf airspace, The minimum visibility is 1 statute mile and clear of clouds. So it's pretty low. Weather reports indicate you will have a direct crosswind upon landing. You must keep your longitudinal axis aligned with the runway. That's when you touch down. All right, another one of these. The terrain elevation at the obstruction, located approximately 3.5 nautical miles south of Lincoln Airport, is, let's go see here. So 0.4. Okay, so the airport elevation here is 121 feet. Runway length is 6,000 feet. So here, 121, 3.5 nautical miles south of that airport. I believe that's this one. So the terrain elevation there is going to be 406 minus 296. That's the elevation of the terrain. So that's going to be 110 feet MSL. So 110 feet MSL is 11 feet lower than the airport elevation, so that's the correct answer. A placard inside your aircraft reads, "Use of the air conditioner may cause the compass card to read incorrectly. The magnetic compass is showing the effects of magnetic deviation." You think you are experiencing hyperventilation. Some symptoms may include muscle spasms and impaired vision. So if you're getting hyperventilated, some symptoms might include muscle spasm and impaired vision. Other symptoms of hyperventilation are visual impairment, unconsciousness, lightheadedness, tingling sensations, hot and cold sensations, and muscle spasms. So I gotta remember these. All right, back to figure 53. You're planning a VFR flight westbound from Fresno. Should be over here somewhere. Fresno Chandler Executive. Your flight is going to pass through the Lemoore MOA. So that's over here, the Lemoore MOA. You should exercise extreme caution. You are on taxiway A at spot 5. You are on taxiway A at spot 5. If you were to turn 90 degrees to the right, which taxiway would you be on? Echo. E for echo. You have just landed and cleared the runway. Ground control gives you the following instructions. Taxi to the ramp via taxiway Alpha, turn right on taxiway Echo. You proceed down taxiway Alpha and encounter only sign number 1. And no other taxiway signs or taxiways. What has occurred? Yeah, you might have gone down this one instead or something. You have passed Echo and are at the end of Alpha. Yeah, I guess you missed the turn and you're at the end and it's just you can't continue. Refer to figure 64. You have received clearance to land on runway 18 and hold short of runway 26-8. After you land, you roll it past the sign. You've actually passed runway 26-8. You didn't follow their instructions. You did not comply with the clearance and have passed runway 268. Yep. With a calm wind approach speed of 70 knots, what speed should be used when gusts are 15 knots, if not specified in the POH? 77 knots. To maintain control during an approach in turbulent air with gusty crosswind, use partial wing flaps. With less than full flaps, the airplane is in a higher pitch attitude. Thus, it requires less of a pitch change to establish landing attitude and touch in a higher airspeed to ensure positive control. One procedure is to use the normal approach speed plus 1/2 of the wind gust factors. If the normal speed is 70 knots and the wind gusts are 15 knots, increase to an airspeed of 77 knots. In any case, the airspeed and the number of flaps used should conform to airplane recommendations. So you just take 15 divided by 2 and add it to 70. That's 77. That's the closest answer. You will be more susceptible to hypoxia if you conduct a flight after donating blood. Blood volume can take several weeks to return to normal following a donation. While flight planning using a sectional chart, you realize your plane route takes you through a shaded blue area labeled P40. What action must be taken? Remain clear of this area. P40 would mean prohibited areas. Prohibited areas contain airspace defined where a flight of aircraft is prohibited. Under what conditions would a pilot make right turns in a pattern at an air course in the Class Golf airspace without an operating control tower? You would do this when the airport has visual markings indicating that turns should be made to the right. You are planning a VFR flight. You are experiencing pilot fatigue. You will minimize the risk by rethinking your plans and perhaps postponing the flight. You are on approach and realize you are going to undershoot the runway. Suddenly, raising the flaps will decrease lift and cause the aircraft to sink rapidly. Yeah, when you raise the flaps, it decreases lift, and the aircraft will sink rapidly. All right, back to a figure. You're ready to taxi from the west ramp. Here's the west ramp. Air traffic control gives the following instructions. Cessna 123 Bravo Charlie, taxi to runway 06. That's over here. No, 06 is over here. Via Alpha, that's this one. Bravo, which is here. And hold short runway 06. Where would you stop your taxiing to comply with the clearance? I would hold short at number 9, just to be careful. Position 9, yeah. Air traffic control will issue an explicit clearance for on-road runway crossings. You'll be using an avionics package you have never used before. The day of the flight, your weather brief forecasts a ceiling of 300 feet overcast and 1 statute mile visibility at your destination. What is the best action? The risks are too high, so you delay the flight and wait for conditions to improve. Why would an aircraft be equipped with more than one power source for the turn coordinator, attitude indicator, and heading indicator, so at least one gyroscopic instrument continues to operate in case of power failure? You are south of the airfield, and air traffic control tells you to enter midfield for a left downwind for runway 24. What will the magnetic heading be when you are established on the downwind? enter midfield for a left downwind for 2-4. You're south of the airfield. Left downwind, so you're going to go up and then turn to the right. So when you go turn to the right, you're going to be opposite of 2-4. So 240 minus 180, I believe is, yeah, that's 060. 240 minus 180, 060. You receive an air traffic control clearance, Cessna, taxi runway 17 via taxiway Alpha Tango. You are on taxiway Alpha. You must take a 45-degree turn to the right for taxiway Tango. Which is true when using a portable handheld GPS for VFR flight? Position accuracy degrades without notification. So when using a handheld GPS, position accuracy degrades without notification. You are on approach to runway 17. The winds are reported 27015, gust 20. To the west of the runway, there are some buildings. What should you take into consideration? Low level turbulence due to the buildings so close to the runway. Yeah, because the winds are coming from the west, and it says there's buildings to the west, so there's low level turbulence due to the buildings close to the runway. You're flying day VFR, begin having mechanical problems with your aircraft. You should aviate, navigate, and then request assistance and declare an emergency. So yeah, first aviate, navigate, then declare an emergency. All right. You're departing to the west from Lincoln Regional, 0.4. Okay, you're at Lincoln Regional here. You're departing to the west, you're going this way, and you experience engine roughness. Can you land on Van Dyke Airport? Of course you can, it's an emergency, yes. All right, point number 2. You're over Fresno Chandler Executive Airport en route to Chunchilla, wherever that is. Let me see if I can find it. Chunchilla. Oh, here's Chowchilla. And your airborne radar depicting unexpected weather ahead on your plane route. Who should you contact for an update on changing weather conditions? So you look at Fresno, Rancho Murrieta, 122.2 or 122.55. Either of those. You are planning a flight at a pressure altitude of 6,000 feet and outside air temperature of 20 Celsius. The density altitude will be higher than the 6,000 feet. Yeah, that's pretty hot. So to reach a density altitude from pressure altitude, you have to correct the given pressure altitude of 6,000 feet for the presence of non-standard temperature, if it is non-standard. So what is the standard temperature at 6,000 feet? Since the standard sea level temperature is 15 Celsius and the standard temperature elapsed rate is 2 degrees per 1,000 feet, we calculate that the standard temperature at 6,000 feet is 15 Celsius, and then it's 6,000 feet times 2, so that's 14. So hold on, 2 times 6, sorry. 2 times 6 is 12, so 15 Celsius minus 12 Celsius, it gives you 3 Celsius would be the standard temperature at 6,000 feet, but this is saying 20, so it's definitely hotter So the temperature of 6,000 feet should be 3 Celsius, but the question says it's hotter than that, so it's going to be higher than 6,000 feet. All right. What is the significance of the notice next to circle 3? For reasons of national security, pilots are requested to avoid flights at and below 800 feet above ground level in this area. Magenta circle. Oh, this is pointing to that. Yeah, because that's where there's a nuclear power something. All aircraft should stay above 800 feet AGO when flying over the magenta circle. During a crosswind takeoff, aileron controls can be manipulated to gain flight control by pressure into the wind. So you put the flight controls into the wind on takeoff. You were taxiing for departure at night. There's an aircraft on the taxiway ahead of you, but you can't see it. You see a white light in the middle of the taxiway, a red light on the right, and a green light on the left. That just means the aircraft is taxiing towards you because right is green, left is red, so it's coming towards you. While in flight, a helicopter and airplane are converging at a 90-degree angle, and the airplane is located to the right of the helicopter. Which aircraft has the right of way Y at the vehicle on the right? So the airplane. Before starting the engine, you should turn on the anti-collision lights. If there is a malfunction within the air data computer on an electronic flight display, which instrument is affected? Airspeed. This one's hard. I've never heard about this. An air data computer, or ADC, and an EFD. EFD utilizes the same type of instrument inputs that traditional analog gauges. However, the processing system is different. The pitot-static inputs are received by an air data computer. The air data computer computes the difference between the total pressure and the outside static pressure and generates the information necessary to display the airspeed on the PFD. Outside air temperatures are also monitored and introduced into various components within the system, as well as being displayed on the PFD screen. So, if there's a malfunction with the air data computer on an electric flight display, which instrument is affected? Airspeed. You notice that you're too high during your approach and decide to execute a go-around. The first operational step is to fly full power. Correct. Under what conditions may a commercial pilot use basic med for compensation or higher? What conditions may a commercial pilot use basic med for compensation or higher? Basic med may not be used for compensation or higher. Even if you have a commercial license, basic med may not be used for compensation or higher. You are receiving flight following and are approaching a non-towered airport you know nothing about. You request lower altitude from air traffic control in order to take a look. Air traffic control advises that there are numerous targets below and to expect lower in 5 miles. You consider the advisory as an annoyance and terminate the flight following descending directly into the traffic pattern. This behavior exhibits a hazardous attitude. Yeah, because you're not listening to them, and they're saying that there's targets below. You encounter a stressful situation during your flight. You notice your breathing becomes more rapid. This could lead to too much carbon dioxide leaving the blood, or hyperventilation. You are on an approach to an airport at night near an active military airfield. Air traffic control states, advise when you have the airport in sight. In the distance, you see a rotating beacon with 2 quick white flashes and 1 green flash. This is a military airfield, yeah. White, white, green. White, white, green is military. White, green is civilian. White and yellow is for water. White, yellow, and green for a heliport. White, white, green is military. One of the hazards of using a handheld GPS unit is that some handheld units may not be equipped with RAIN alerting capability. So RAIN capability is many VFR GPS receivers in all handheld units have no RAIN alerting capability. Loss of the required number of satellites in view or the detection of a position error cannot be displayed to the pilot by such receivers. In receivers with no RAIN capability, no alert will be provided to the pilot that the navigation solution has deteriorated and an undetected navigation error could occur. A systematic cross-check with the other navigation techniques would identify this failure and prevent a serious deviation. Only 12 questions left. What is the main reason why a pilot should perform continuous self-evaluation before and during a flight? To monitor pilot fatigue. A pilot can mitigate risk on the flight deck by pilot self-evaluation. The pilot can mitigate risk on the flight deck by pilot self-evaluation. During the flight below overcast clouds, you see lightning flashes ahead of your aircraft. You should alter your route to avoid traffic. So you see lighting flashes ahead of your aircraft. Yeah, you should avoid traffic. It's not lightning, it's lighting. It's asking about lighting, like the wingtip strobes of an airplane. What techniques can a pilot practice to improve scanning ability? Practice using a series of short, regularly spaced eye movements. While in final approach, you believe that you are experiencing low-level wind shear due to large power and pitch changes, which are making it difficult to maintain a stabilized approach. In this case, you should execute your go-around maneuver. The landing is not assured. What is the purpose of the hold position markings on a holding bay? It holds aircraft on the holding bay when there's an operations need. Holding bays provide a large standing space for airplanes awaiting final air traffic control clearance and permit those planes already cleared to move to their runway takeoff position. What considerations should a pilot take regarding the consumption of alcohol before a flight? Any level of alcohol in the blood affects your flying abilities. Under what conditions may a person exercise the privileges of a commercial pilot certificate with Basic Med? Basic Med may not be used while exercising commercial pilot privileges because you cannot fly for compensation or higher. Which commercial maneuver increases your risk of a stall? Slow flight. Hypothermia occurs when the body loses heat faster than it produces heat. What can pilots expect when the in-flight moving map GPS database is not current? Pilots may receive incorrect information when attempting to avoid airspace. When conducting a go-around, what must a pilot be aware of? The airplane is trimmed for a power-off condition, and the airplane's nose will rise rapidly in application of take-off thrust. When conducting a go-around, what must the pilot be aware of? The airplane is trimmed for a power-off condition, and the airplane's nose will rise rapidly on an application of takeoff thrust. So yeah, just be careful of that. Your flight is being conducted at night. To maintain optimum night vision, you should make sure flight deck lighting is on its lowest setting. So to obtain optimum night vision, you should make sure flight deck lighting is on its lowest setting. It's easy. Oh, 0. Okay, we're done with this section.